What's up everyone? Welcome back to 4-Stroke Cards. Today I wanted to actually take you on a bit of a journey. It's been 2 years with this lady right now for me, and I wanted to tell you guys what it's like owning a KTM RC390. A couple of them actually. Wifey's is back there, and the plus, the minuses, the things that I had to deal with the most, the things that I had to focus on the most, and basically the maintenance and repairs. What it's like to own a race bike. And this could probably go for kind of like for everybody, but in this particular case, it's a 400cc engine, it's a single cylinder, and all of the above. Basically everything that pertains to a single cylinder bike versus a twin or a 4-cylinder, you know, type of stuff. But I really wanted to show you guys what were the biggest parts that I had to like maintain, what were the biggest expenses. Fortunately, I didn't have much crashes. Wifey, on the other hand, had a couple of little offs because of either cold weather or, honestly speaking, people running onto her and taking her out on track, which sucks. But anyway, one is a highly modified KTM RC390 Cup with extra things from Taiga and things like that, and the other one is more of a standard Cup bike back there. I wanted to show you guys what it's like, and I wanted to give you a bit of a walkthrough around all of this. So, all right, let's take a look. I'm gonna start with the front. So, let's see if we can see what's the best way to do this, because I'm not looking at the screen, so I don't know what you guys are seeing. But anyway, if we look at the front, one of the biggest things that, or one of the biggest things that wear through the year has been the grips. So the grips has been, you know, as you can see right now, this grip has a bit of a year right now. This grip has a bit of wear when we run the grips on track, especially for summertime, because they do get quite squeegee. We put this wire systems around, just a little wire, twisted around so it keeps it together. But yeah, this is one of the biggest things that runs. So it's been a year now, for at least this season, about 15 track days on this lady. And you see how that's about to go down. And on the left hand side, a little less, of course, because you're not kind of like twisting the throttle too much or doing some game of like braking and using that. So it's a little better, but yeah, they're basically, they gotta go. Another thing that to note on this bike is that a lot of the work, there's a video review, there's a link here up here, but basically there was a lot of modifications done to this bike, one of which is tearing down all the front stuff, replacing the dial with a Kozo dial, and then putting a front Taiga part. And this basically eliminates a few pounds out of the body. This little piece with vibration and time broke off, so I gotta weld it, but basically it comes out of here and the piece bolts to this left side and to the right side of the fairings, holding kind of like the nose in place. Right now I've got some zip ties, good old, you know, solution, but I couldn't get the place replace from Taiga, so I'm gonna just grab the piece that broke off and weld it. I've got an appointment to do that, to weld the bad boy. On the throttle side of things, everything stayed really well. No maintenance done through the year, but I'm gonna take this apart and I'm gonna oil it up to make sure. It is quite stiff compared to the wife's. Oh man, the stock one is pretty soft. As you can see, wifey's has a bit of a crash. We replaced these guards. We'll talk about the accessories in a minute, but I'm gonna go with these grips. These are the ones that they're running World Superbike right now. They're thicker, chunkier, and just a little thicker, better for the grip. Mines are thinner, but they're more durable just because it has more rubber. On the front side, if we keep rotating around, on the fairing side, basically everything feels okay. There's a few chips in here and there. That piece of right here, some of the fairing broke off on the joint part where you put the bolt, and here there's a couple of chip stones, and that guy wants to crack pretty soon, highly likely because that piece was missing, and I'm kind of like relying on the plastic right now, so most likely my fault. On the stand side of things, you know, a lot of people have front stands. We got one of those pin bays that go up there, and just got to be careful because when the top of the pin goes through here, when the whole system goes through, we tend to scratch this, which sucks. I want to see if I can repair that. Radiator, after a year of running around, It's got, I did learn my lesson. I am going to put a bit of a mesh or something because as you can see the radiator, all the chips that are coming straight out of the tire are making an absolute racket out of that part of the radiator. So I'm losing like what, 20%, 10% cooling efficiency in there. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. A little bit of more chips from the track, from following people. Chips, there's like a little plastic on top of this, the stickers that are peeling apart. But lovely. One of the most amazing things here, which I experienced more in the Supermoto, was the Acerbi. The Acerbi hand guards are absolute gold. My wife had a couple of offs, and these Acerbi guards are brand new, of course. On hers, I put the right and the left. She likes to have them even. But it's been a couple of crashes, and they're amazing at crashing. I've crashed them on the Supermoto so many times, I think 5 times this year on one side, and they're perfectly fine. What else? Brake pads and tires, those are things that you, of course, are going to need to replace from time to time. But yeah, the brake pads have lasted me the entire year, and I am an aggressive braker. Ask around. I should not be braking this much, but I still have quite a lot of meat in that brake pad. The rear one I touch here and there, so there's no need. The chain, it's been a year now. The sprockets, I gotta clean them up a little bit, but the sprockets are quite decent. They're quite well. I'm running a 520 chain, which is a bit of an overkill, but at least the part lasts long. So this is gonna, the Vortex sprocket and the chain are gonna take a whole other year as well, another season. Again, I haven't crashed, so a lot of my little review on this bike is just more wear and tear than anything else. On the tire sides, I used 3 rears, and I used irresponsibly 1 front. I've got 1 more front, new one over there that I'm going to change today. It is November, so it is time. I did save myself from a big crash in Spring Mountain a while back because I took this to the raggedy edge. If you feel this here, there's like a nice little edgy corner, and as soon as I touch the end of the tire, it wants to go on full lean. The other part that feels like it needs a little bit of love is the seat. This is a seat foam that I tried for this year, but I'm gonna go back to the stock, the one that comes with a cup bike that they sell on numerous different KTM sites, which has a bit of a back here for more grip and kind of curls around a little more. Wifey's kind of pinched a little bit on the sides, but this is normal. We just glue it from time to time and push it back down. But I like her seat, it's more comfy, and it's actually less taller. The seat that I have is a little thicker, so my ass is a little taller. I kind of want to be more flushed in. And now I'm going to put another foam here as well coming out to see if it can hold me in my butt. And I'm going to try a monkey grip on the tank coming soon to push me further back, because I slide back and forth in this space at the moment so far. Everything else is really good. Like, everything else has lasted fine. The chassis obviously is hard to tell, but you know, you go through seasons, but you know, we don't race here, so the chassis is pretty good. The foot pegs are also lovely. It's a lot of rubbing in here, but again, until it breaks off, I'm not going to change it or touch it. The exhaust, there's a lot of dirt in there that I'm going to have to get in there and clean it once we have a little bit of time off during Christmas. I will do that. Suspension in the front and suspension in the rear. At the top of the year, Bobby Lou with Moto Ref Suspension Tuning did the oils as well as a replacement of pins for a better, more precise front. These are the WP forks that come on the cup bike. And for the rear, he changed the spring. So I'm going to see him soon so that he can work back on the oil and work back on the oil of the suspension and the shock and the forks to see. Now, internals. I've had to do a couple of fixes on the engine. Kira's bike has been completely fine throughout the whole year. She rides on CB group, so her aggression in the engine is not so crazy. I'm pinned like a monster as much as I can for as long as I can. So a couple of things happened. This year I switched. It used to run on U4.4, and I ended up switching through the recommendation of Martin. And his shop, he did a tune. He does have an RC390 that he used to race himself as well. So he understands the bike really well, especially the internals. So he's the one that's been maintaining the motor part of the bike. So we did a mix of 110 and 91. And he mapped the Power Commander ECU to that fuel. and it's been running absolutely lovely, and very little issues on the internals. I did have to do, I did have an issue where, and I don't know why, the person who did the previous engine build or the previous job had a little problem with one of the valves. Some of the spacers, some of the shims was off. So basically the valve got hit at a time and hit the valve. So I had to put a new set of valves on top. But yeah, he did the top end work on the valve work, and after that it's been absolutely peachy. Besides that, I do recommend that you change, I mean everybody recommends this, so I've heard it around, so I'm just regurgitating what I've learned. Change the oil every track day if you can. Blood Racing has a lot of good oil. I'm saying this of course because they're sending me, they're giving me oil as well to use, so I would love to pass the word, but so far it's been absolutely great with Blood Racing. I change it every track day. Or every 2 track days sometimes. On the Supermoto, I definitely change it every other weekend, every 2 weekends, every 2 track days out, every 2 Saturdays, I guess. The oil filter, I change it every 2 or 3 oil changes. So I change the oil every weekend, for Saturdays on the track, but then after 2 weekends or 3 weekends, I'll change the oil filter itself. Let's see what else. Really, that's it. To be honest, that's so far the kind of being the biggest thing. The tires has been some of the biggest expense, but again, I'm racing with a small engine. It's not a 600 or 1000, so I'm not chewing through rear tires like a monster. So if you're getting into track and starting, I extremely and highly recommend, do what you want, but I highly recommend starting on a 400 because the economy is it's easy to maintain, easy to repair if you really want to. You learn a lot about the bike, especially if something breaks and you want to open the engine and try to get into it. Just learning such a simple engine goes a long way, and then graduate to whatever you want to graduate. But it's amazing, much less expenses than a 600. I used to have a Ducati V2 and a 959, and I used to race a 749S before, back in the day. And again, the expenses are very, very different. It's a much more manageable situation when you have a bike of these characteristics. And again, if you wreck it, and for the RC390s, when you go to, there's websites like KTM World and Gray Area KTM, which sells you tuning parts, Taiga as well. It's very cheap to repair things. Side cover $60, a piston is $30. An impeller for the water pump is like $40. The whole water pump system is like $90. A radiator is like $80-90 on eBay. You can get one off of there. So that's another one. Talking about cooling, I did have a problem with and I found a problem with the impellers, especially at high temperature in summer. The impeller in the water pump, and there's another video here that I'll put a link somewhere up here. They have a plastic turbine type of thing, that moves the water through the radiator system. So when you put a high pressure cap, which a lot of people do to avoid boiling water come through, when you put a high pressure cap there, the pressure inside of the system is much higher. So what it does, here's the water pump. There's an impeller right in there, and that's the water coming in and being cycled around. So what it does is it pushes a lot of pressure into the pump. Like the whole system puts a lot of pressure into the pump, and the turbine or the impeller pushes against its own kind of like screw that it's screwed into, and eventually breaks inwards with the pressure. And sometimes the seals break as well, and then the water leaks into the engine, and you see a lot of the coffee milky problems with the engine, basically water mixing with the oil and mixing into the engine, making a mess. But I'm going to leave a link up here somewhere in the description of how to fix this problem, because I think from the get-go, if you put a Supermoto, KTM it shares the same water pump with the 450 Supermoto, some of the Husqvarnas too, and also the Cafe Racer thingamajigger bikes that they have, the Husqvarna 401 I think it's called. But they have a metal impeller, an aluminum impeller, that you're gonna have to do a little bit of modification to get in here, especially through the fans, but you'll see in the video. But it improves the cooling a lot, and it has not broken ever since. I've been running it for over a year now with the metal impeller. Before I had to replace the impeller, the plastic impeller twice, the stock impeller. So yeah, worth every penny putting that metal impeller in there if you want to be preventative to that, because if seals go in and water goes into your engine and all that stuff, it's a mess. And during the summer, the impeller broke. During 2 summers ago, not this past summer, but summer before, the impeller broke, and basically it goosed my water pump. So the bike was overheating like a monster, and after a lap or two, I had to come in. But anyway, that's it for now, folks. Thank you for sticking in. Thank you for watching the video, supporting the channel. There's 800 of you guys now, 830 subscribers. So damn, I started the year with 0, and now here we are. So it pays to stay consistent. Follow my main sponsor, which is Two Wheel Track Days. That's who I go tracking with in SoCal the entire year. Check out Magnum Motorsports, who've been friends that allowed us to review their motorcycles as of lately. Check out Martin's store as well down in San Diego. And thank you, Blood Racing as well. Thank you so much for all the stuff that you send us. Motor Ref, suspension tuning, Bobby. I cannot thank you enough for all your help, buddy. And go check out his website as well if you want to do your own suspension on the parts and learn from him, or even get certificates in suspension. And yeah, Magnum Motorsports, check out their shop. They're selling motorcycles. It's a dealership that sells KTM, Huskies, and gas motorcycles. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, well, we're actually getting ready as of now to go to Two Wheel Track Days Willow Springs event. Actually, they have a really cool combo of 3 days. They have Big Willow on Friday. They have Saturday and Sunday small Streets of Willow, which is really cool, like 2 tracks in one weekend. Or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's pretty cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in, staying in, watching these videos. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't yet, please do so. Ring the bell. All of that just you guys know by now on YouTube. Hello to my community of motorcyclists. If anybody wants to collab or do something, please let me know. Check out the latest round 5 race, which is going to come up in a little bit on the channel for the Mini Moto series. This time I didn't focus on the Mini Moto. This time I focused on the 450 and a full load Alfredo, which is one of the fastest 450 amateur racers out there right now, and how that was fun. I think our friend Wesley as well, Lucky, Twins Cup racer in Moto America, was there having fun with Sylvia. Sylvia doing her thing. She's so rapid. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Take care. We'll see you soon. Peace.